After months of hard work, I finally accomplished something I've only seen in my dreams. I finally got the coveted Night Badge on LeetCode. However, it wasn't easy, and there were a lot of mistakes I made along the way. I want to share the strategy that I used to achieve this goal, and will continue to use while I work my way towards Guardian. Before we get into it, I just want to outline who this video is for. If you're completely new to LeetCode, this video is probably not for you. I highly recommend doing some type of introductory roadmap like Leetcode or Blind75 and have a decent grasp on basic data structures and algorithms. This strategy also is based around LeetCode contests. I do think everyone should participate in contests, but if it's really not for you, then maybe this is not the strategy that you should follow. So now that we got that out of the way to get a Night Badge is to solve more problems. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Just kidding. While solving more problems is key to getting better, we have to be smart about the problems that we're solving in order to optimize the way that we practice. This leads me to the biggest mistake I see people make. Many people, after completing an initial roadmap, are totally lost in what they should do next. So they end up going to LeetCode and either solving a random problem or doing the problem of the day. While there are some benefits from doing this, there are two huge problems. The questions can vary widely in difficulty. Using ZeroTrack, a site which assigns a numeric score to LeetCode problems, we can see that medium questions range in difficulty from 1,218 to 2,556. This is why LeetCode's medium difficulty tag can be misleading. You can either be solving questions that are way too hard for your level or questions that are far too easy. We also don't get the benefit of targeted practice from doing random questions. We just jump between topics like bit manipulation, graphs, binary search, and sorting all in quick succession. We don't get the opportunity to focus on one particular type of problem and solidify all the understanding of it. We are going to use some principles of deliberate practice in order to help us achieve our goal. James Clear defines deliberate practice as the following. Deliberate practice refers to a special type of practice that is purposeful and systematic. While regular practice might include mindless repetitions, deliberate practice requires more focused attention and is conducted with a specific goal of improving performance. So the type of practice that we're going to do will be focused entirely in improving our weak areas. There are two types of practice that we're going to do. What I like to call smart random practice, as well as topic-wise practice. Before we actually start on this practice strategy, we need to just do one LeetCode contest. I know for a lot of people this seems scary, but even if you completely bomb and do terribly, you at least get a starting point to know where your skills are at and a place to start tracking your improvement. Remember how I said before that random practice wasn't very effective? That is true, but it turns out that being able to see a random problem and come up with the data structure or algorithm needed to solve it is extremely important. So random practice is actually essential. However, we're going to be smart about how we do random practice. We want to make sure that we're practicing problems that are going to help us improve the most. If we practice questions that are too easy, we're not going to learn anything and end up becoming bored. If we practice questions that are too hard, we also don't learn and end up becoming anxious and frustrated and end up quitting. We want to practice problems like in this flow channel. These will challenge us just enough to help us improve while also not being too easy to be boring. To find questions that fit into this range, we can use a site like ZeroTrack. This is a ranking site which gives a numeric difficulty to LeetCode problems. To find the current range we should be practicing in, take your current score and add up to 200. So if, for example, your current rating is 1700, you should be practicing in a range between 1700 and 1900. While you're doing this practice, keep participating in contests. As your skills improve, you should see your score improve as well. When your score improves, make sure that you adjust the difficulty of questions that you practice during this time. So for example, if your rating goes up to 1750, you should now practice in the range from 1750 to 1950. Targeting the appropriate difficulty in this way will ensure we get the most out of our practice time, rather than spending too much time on questions that are too easy or too hard and don't help us learn. It's definitely possible that some of the questions may stump you, which is totally okay. Look at the editorials and solution tab and make sure that you truly understand the solution. If you want some variety in your practicing, you can also use sites like Codeforces or curated lists like TLE Eliminators. These questions are usually a bit harder than what you'll see on LeetCode, just keep that in mind if you're going to use those sites. While you're doing contests and practicing, it's very likely that you'll run into certain topics that you struggle with. For example, you may find that every time you run into a bit manipulation problem, you get completely stuck and have no idea what to do. When this happens, it's a good idea to take a week or two to really focus on these types of problems. They will be hard at first, but when you dedicate enough practice time to one type of question, you really start to understand it. You'll learn way faster this way than just randomly doing problems. This combination of smart random practice and targeted practice is a combination I've been using for a while. While I've been using this method, I've seen my LeetCode rating rise from 1553 to 1870. Prior to this, I spent a long time practicing inefficiently, and I can definitely see the change in my understanding since starting this method. I'm going to continue using this strategy as I work my way towards my next goal, the Guardian badge on LeetCode. I hope everyone enjoyed this video and you picked up something that you can use as part of your LeetCode journey.